Namaste and a very good evening to all of you. I welcome you to my channel, The Outlier. My name is Mithun. In today's video, I will be talking about how to get the p-value in Microsoft Excel for Pearson's correlation. Even before I proceed to demonstrate how to obtain the p-value for correlation, may I request you to subscribe to my channel as well as like and share my videos. Firstly, let's look at this particular data set. You've got two variables, sales and price. I've got information for the first column, namely sales. I've also got information for price. Let's go ahead and look at the correlation table. To get the correlation table, all that we need to do is click on the data menu. Once we click on the data menu, at the extreme right side, you have an option called as data analysis. There are different options that will pop up in the data analysis dialog box. I'll click on the option correlation. Let me choose OK. Excel is now asking me to specify the input range. Let me go ahead and specify the input range. I've specified column B and column C as the input. I'll go ahead and make sure that I select labels in the first row. This is important because the first row consists of the variable heading. I'll hit the OK button. Now you can see here, Excel gives me the correlation value. Let me expand this, zoom this. You can see the correlation value of minus 0.28. Clearly, there is a weak negative correlation between price and sales. But what is the problem here? When we run a correlation in Excel, it does not generate the p-value or the probability value, which is very important to study the statistical significance. If you want to check whether there is a significant relationship between the two variables, we look at the p-value. By default, the correlation option in Excel only gives you the correlation coefficient value. It does not give the p-value, which is a problem. But thankfully, there is a workaround. What is this workaround? Here, I'm going to demonstrate how this workaround operates. I will again go back to my source data, which is this particular sheet consisting of sales and price. Then I'll move on to data and choose the option data analysis. Below correlation, you see a wide variety of options. Now, when we talk about getting the p-value for correlation coefficient, we can make sure that we click on the regression option here and choose the OK button. I have to specify the Y variable as well as the X variable. The Y variable will be sales. What about the X variable? When we talk about the X variable, let me specify the range for the X variable. I have specified the input Y range as well as the input X range. I'll select the labels option and choose OK. This is the output for regression. Now, Excel produces a lot of output when we are performing regression. We don't need to look at each and every option here. What is really important is the multiple R value. Let me go ahead and highlight the multiple R value of 0.28. The multiple R value for two variables, and we are using two variables, the multiple R value will be identical to the Pearson's R value. I repeat, the multiple R will be identical to the Pearson's R value. Further, if you want to check the statistical significance for the two variables, what you can do is you can look at the significance value here. The value that you're obtaining is 0.22. I repeat, the value that you're obtaining is 0.22. You can either pick up the value from here, or you can look at the p-value for the variable price which is reported next to the t statistic value. Here again, you can see the p-value, which is quite identical to the value that is produced in the ANOVA table. So what's the conclusion? Either you can look at this particular p-value or this particular value. The conclusion here is that the p-value is bigger than 0.05. Clearly, when you compare 0.22 with that of 0.05, the p-value of 0.22 is higher than 0.05. Since it is higher than 0.05, we fail to reject our null hypothesis. I repeat, we fail to reject our null hypothesis and conclude that the correlation between sales and price is insignificant. I hope this is clear. In this video, the purpose of running the regression was not to look at the regression output as such. It was done to look at the statistical significance of the correlation coefficient. We can get the p-value by looking at the ANOVA table or by looking at the p-value for the independent variable. With this, I have come to the end of today's video. I thank you very much for watching this particular video. I request you to subscribe to my channel, like and share my videos. Thank you very much. Have a great day.